Zach Parker up against Germany's former world champion Tyrone Zeuge. Back to Darren and Richie after Thomas Triver.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it is an international super middleweight contest. Brought to you by Frank Warren on behalf of Queensberry Promotions, along with their great sponsors, 32 Red and Unibet. It is sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, steward in charge Matt Harris, timekeeper Jason Booth. Our 3 judges assigned, all from England, will be Michael Alexander, Lee Every, and Kevin Parker. Our referee in charge will be Victor Laughlin of Scotland. Introducing to you first, fighting tonight out of the red corner. He comes to the ring wearing black, red, and gold, and weighed in officially at 12 stone, 5 pounds. Coming to us from Berlin, Germany, he brings a professional record consisting of 27 wins, just 1 defeat, 1 draw, with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former WBA super middleweight champion of the world, Tyrone Zeuge. And his opponent across the ring fighting tonight out of the blue corner. He comes to the ring wearing green, silver, and orange, and weighed in at 12 stone, 1 pound. Hailing from Derby, England, he has a professional record of 23 wins, just 1 defeat, with 17 of his 23 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the former British super middleweight champion, Zach Parker.
Okay, gents, you know the rules. Remember, obey my commands at all time, defend yourselves at all time. Touch gloves, God bless.
So Zach Parker's in with the former world champion tonight in the German Tyrone Zeuge. He's back in the ring 6 months after stopping Khalid Graïdia in 7 rounds at Wembley. And it's just his 2nd fight since losing to John Ryder in a world title eliminator in November 2022. As for Zeuge, he lost his WBA belt to Rocky Fielding 6 years ago now, and since then we've only seen him box 5 times. And Zach Parker with the black and red trunks on, with the badge of Derby County on the left thigh. What are you expecting from this one, Richie?
Well, it's an interesting contest, isn't it? You've got Zeuge, former world champion, 6 world title fights to his name. But first time he's ever boxed out of Germany as a professional, which is really, really interesting. And already there, I think the youth of Parker, the speed there, and the change in the feet from orthodox to southpaw just caught Zeuge off guard. So yeah, it is an interesting one. Obviously the experience goes with the German boxer, but Zach Parker, he's so skillful, this kid, he really is. He's as good at orthodox southpaw as he is orthodox. He's a talent.
It's a bigger test tonight on paper than when we saw him in the ring against Graïdia last time out. Both of them have only been beaten once, Rocky Fielding beating Zeuge, and the John Ryder defeat, the only blemish on the record of Parker. I think significantly, Richie, based on the fact he's been talking about stepping up and fighting Anthony Yard at light heavyweight, weighed in at 12 stone 1, so he's only a pound outside the super middleweight limit, so he's got options in both divisions if he comes through tonight. Zach Parker.
Yeah, he has indeed, but I think he's a natural super middleweight, to be quite honest. I mean, he could go to light heavy, yes, but if he can make a super middle and hold his strength, then that's his division for me. So let's just see how it goes. But here I'd like to see Parker maybe set the pace and box at a quicker tempo. But Tyrone Zeuge hasn't. He's only boxed 4 or 5 times, hasn't he, since 2018? So, you know, not in the best of form and shape. And yeah, so if he boxes at a high tempo, then it might just trouble Zeuge.
There's always a question over how much ambition remains in Zeuge, based on the fact he was out the ring for almost 4 years Since coming back, he's had 3 wins with the last 2 on points. We'll find out a lot more about him in there against Zach Parker tonight. Sparred together back in the summer of 2017. It was in Germany, sessions that Parker felt he had the better of. He started to put his punches together nicely here with a little bit more than 30 seconds to go in the first round.
Yeah, Zeuge early on here, he's struggling with the movement of Parker and keeps switching because on the outside, very awkward man to box against. He's an effective switch hitter, but his movement as well is very good, and he can certainly make you come over your front foot and make mistakes. So Zeuge just went southpaw himself there. He's struggling a little bit to cope with the movement here of Parker.
Welcome back to Birmingham, where we're watching a 12-round fight at super middleweight between Zach Parker from Derby and the German Tyrone Zeuge. After this, you'll see Joe Joyce on the comeback trail against Cash Ali, the first time we've seen him in the ring since he lost twice to Zhilei Zhang. Then it's Liam Davis against Eric Robles, and then Nathan Heaney against Brad Pauls for the British middleweight title is the top of the bill here in Birmingham tonight. An arena that's just about full. In fact, I think it is full now. And it's been full for quite a while. Richie, the crowd were in quite early tonight. It's a good card. They wanted to get in and make sure they didn't miss anything, and it's not let us down to this point.
No, it's a great crowd, isn't it? I'm sure when Nathan Heaney comes in to the arena at the end of the evening, that's when they're really going to come alive. But yeah, I think they've enjoyed what they've seen, actually, Fletch, because we've had some cracking contests up to now.
Great shot! Right hand from Zeuge. And somehow Parker was able to stay upright. Certainly bent his knees and buckled his legs. Teach him a punch, he was wide open. And now the former WBA world champion's looking for the finish. He's in survival mode, Parker. Teach him a punch, beautiful shot. And Parker's head is far from clear. And now he's touched down, it's going to be a count. And all of a sudden, this has turned around.
Well, what a punch that was from Zeuge. Parker, we know how relaxed he is, keeps switching from orthodox to southpaw. Took one too many chances there with the hands low and just got caught with a shot. Got to watch it.
Yeah, 15 stoppages in his 27 wins, so he has got stoppage power, the German. And it was a beautiful shot that started Parker's unravelling. Halfway through the second round.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go in this round as well. He's got to keep that movement going, but it's the hands that are very low again from Parker. He's got to box at range now and not make that type of mistake again. Hands a little bit too low, took too many chances close up and got caught with a big shot.
Caught again with a looping right hand while he was moving down the ropes. Zach Parker replies there with a body shot of his own. He's just trying to keep out of range here to make sure that the head's cleared. There's another decent shot from Zeuge. His confidence is growing all the time.
Yeah, it is indeed. So his tactic is plain and simple now. He's just keeping that guard up, walking, trying to walk Parker down, and just trying to get close enough then to land a shot as Parker's moving away from him. Flashy work, skillful work's coming from Parker, but when you've got low hands moving away from the opponent, then you know you're risking it, and he's got caught with a punch.
Fighting at the moment with a smile on his face, the German. There's a decent body shot from Parker. Final few seconds of the second round, a round that's been dominated by the German former world champion. There's another long right hand that finds the target. And I would think you'll be quite satisfied and quite pleased here, Parker, to get a minute to recover, because it was a beautiful shot that started it all unravelling for him.
Well, it was all going great up until this point, wasn't it? And he's just moving away with his hands a little bit too low, and he just gets caught with a right hand. What's this? It's just a short right hook, if anything. Let's have a look at here. There it was there. What a short punch that was. Little right hook. And Zach Parker was in all sorts of trouble. But after that even, I think he still didn't learn from the mistakes that he made there. His hand's a little bit too low. He touches down. It's a definite count. It's a 10-8 round, Zeuge.
It is indeed. I mean, it was a real shock when he lost his world title to Rocky Fielding in 5 rounds back in 2018, and he's almost disappeared off the scene since then. And I mean, you can make a case that this is as an important fight for Zeuge tonight as it is for Parker. If he's got any kind of ambition to be a major player in the super middleweight division, he's got to win tonight, and he certainly started well enough.
Yeah. And he's come to the lion's den, hasn't he, at the end of the day? Parker, a big favourite for this one. Just got to box sensible now, not take so many risks. He just outboxed Zeuge at distance. See there, just missing with that left hook. He's got to cut out his own mistakes here, Fletch.
That's when he misses and leaves himself exposed. That's where he's been sharp enough with his punches to counter the German. His facial expression would tell you he's enjoying himself in there.
I mean, he's got skill, he's got flair, as Zach Parker. It's when he misses the target, like that, you see, when you miss the target and he's launching, he's committed so much into the shot that he just holds his feet a little bit too long. If he misses the target, that's allowing Zeuge then to come back with a counter. Just box sensible, box at distance and cut out your mistakes.
Parker just being patient here in the 3rd round, not taking any chances, just trying to work behind his jab. Edge himself back into the fight, take any chances based on what happened to him in round number 2.
You see, it's okay switching, but you've got to switch like that. You've got to switch when you're moving backwards. You can't afford to switch in this situation going forward. That's when the feet will come cross. See, there again, he almost, right on cue, he almost made the mistake again of switching the feet come square, and he almost got caught again. So he's got to watch what he's doing. He's got flair, he's got ability, Zach Parker, but box sensible. And if you switch hit, switch going backwards, not forwards.
Well, it's already a much more significant challenge in there tonight for Parker than when we last saw him in the ring against Khalid Graidia. It was a relatively straightforward comeback fight after the loss to John Ryder the night he broke his hand. Had to sit back and watch Ryder fight Canelo Alvarez. He's got his work cut out in there tonight against Tyrone Zeuge. That's a decent body shot, just trying to whip it in behind the elbow.
Yeah, nice shot and nice left uppercut there. But you've got to stay mentally strong here. Zeuge coming forward. What Zach Parker can't do is panic here. Just rely on your boxing ability.
So next up tonight, we're going to see the juggernaut, Joe Joyce. Let's hear from him. And that's Joe Joyce in conversation backstage with Raven Chapman. I mean, it's a massive night for him, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a fight he's got to win at the end of the day. And like you said, he's up against the heavyweight. He's favourite to win the contest, but he's just got to get the job done tonight and win the contest is the main thing.
So that's next, Joe Joyce against Cash Ali. This is the 4th round of 10 at super middleweight between Zach Parker and Tyrone Zeuge. Parker down in the 2nd round. Really good right hand that started it off, and then the pressure of the attack from Zeuge forcing Parker to the canvas. And it's been the German who's been the sharper in there. Maybe, as Richie was pointing out in the 3rd round, maybe Parker just causing his own problems on occasion.
I mean, he's got some real skill as Parker. He's just thrown earlier on. Probably the best shot of the contest so far was a lead left uppercut. Lovely punch, you know, delivered, skill, technique, superb. But just occasionally, this is better boxing. He's just keeping his distance, you see, and keeping that jab. That's good movement, but keeping that jab and keeping a gap between himself and Zeuge, that's important. You can't afford for this strong German boxer Zeuge to come forward and to close that gap down.
It's a heavier man in there, Zeuge, by 4 pounds. He was 12 stone 5 when they weighed in. Parker just finding a bit more of a rhythm here in the fourth round. It's a bit more like it from him, controlling the proceedings in there, working behind the jab, operating right now as a southpaw. Will switch though. It's nice work again from Parker. It can make you look very clumsy when he's in rhythm, can't he?
Yeah, he's just got to concentrate all the time here. As Parker, the feet come square on the rope, so he's got to watch what he's doing. He's boxing well, but in this type of a contest, he's got to concentrate, Fletch. Zeuge knows he can land a big shot, so he's confident. He's just going to try and walk him down, take the shots on the gloves and try and land a big one. So it's about concentration here for Parker.
There's been a lot of talk about what the fights might look like in the future for Zach Parker, but of course he's got to get through tonight. Anthony Yard, Billy Joe Saunders, Diego Pacheco, all fighters that seem to be potentially in the future of him, but can't slip up here against Tyrone Zeuge. I think this has been his most dominant round, though, hasn't it, to this point, Parker?
He's kept his man at bay, hasn't he? At distance with those shots, just keeping him off balance, so it's better boxing from Parker, but you can't afford to get complacent. That'll be his problem here, complacency.
Checking off there for Parker from Victor Lachlan. Big smile on the face of Tyrone Zeuge. And a body shot to end the round. Welcome back to Birmingham, the Magnificent 7 card. And in the ring at the moment, Zach Parker and Tyrone Zeuge. It's Errol Johnson putting the gum shield back in. I mean, you do learn all the time in this profession. He'd never been down before until he touched down in the second round, Zach Parker, so he's learned that about himself tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a learning contest. It's one of those contests that he knows, you know, he can't afford to make any silly mistakes and get complacent like he did earlier on in the contest. But in the last round, he probably boxed the best he has in the contest so far. Good movement and kept he boxed mid to long. And certainly Zeuge was struggling to land a shot on him.
Yeah, you get the impression, Richie, if he does keep it mid to long and boxes the way he did in the previous round, then he'll win this relatively comfortably. It's when he just, as you mentioned earlier, when he switches over or just misses and leaves that little gap, Zeuge's got the ability to counter and hit him hard, and that's where the problem came in the second. Again, this is good work though from Parker, dominating in there. There's a wild swing from the German.
See, that's the shot, that simple shot there. That's what he's got to keep doing, that simple jab. It just keeps the opponent off balance, you see. And every time he tries to get close, bang, there's the jab again in his face. He has to start again, then there's another one.
That's a good shot though, right hand, while Parker's back was against the ropes. That's what he's good at.
Yeah. And again, Fletch, ring position, stay there, stay in the centre, stay off the ropes. I think Zach Parker only he's really vulnerable when he gets on the ropes because his feet come square on. It's positive stuff.
Mixing up his attacks to head and body, Zach Parker. He's got a nice tight guard, Zeuge. Doesn't throw a very high volume of punches, does he, the German? But he's got the power when he does let his hands go. Seems quite sharp.
I think he's reverted now just to block the shots on his hands and on his gloves and on his arms, and he's just looking for that one shot now, Zeuge. That's what he's got to keep doing, pepper him with the jab and then just whip a hook downstairs, because that's what will probably slow this man down, will be the body shots.
Zeuge lunging in, but it all gets a bit untidy in there. Decent uppercut there from Parker, and there's the bell. Parker back to Birmingham, and that's the way that Richie's scoring it right now. The 10-8 round for Tyrone Zeuge in the second, but apart from that, you've given Zach Parker the other 4, so he's up 48-46 right now.
Yeah, I think so. I think Parker's winning these rounds on points. Boxing better now. It was only that second round where he had the scare.
It's got the look of a fight where as long as he can avoid the big shot from Zeuge, he should run away with it in the end. He's come out as a southpaw here at the start of the 6th, second half of the fight. I've seen too many fighters who laugh and smile as much as Zeuge, I've got to say, Richie.
Yeah, he's experienced, isn't he? Former world champion. He only lost the 1 in 29 contest, remember, so he's no mug, this Zeuge. Seems to be enjoying it in there, and he's just biding his time, waiting to land that big shot.
So Parker's got to avoid. Parker's got his business face on. He's grinning like a Cheshire cat the majority of the time, Zeuge. Parker digging to the body.
Oh, he just got away with it there, though, Fletch. It wasn't a bad body shot, but it wasn't enough to keep Zeuge at bay, and he almost come back with a fast counter, so he's going to watch that straight left hand to the body when he's boxing as a southpaw. But this is what I don't like. He's boxing fairly comfortable at the moment, but you can't get comfortable mentally. That's when complacency can creep in. Round after round, he's winning now, but he's in against a dangerous opponent. You've got to keep switched on.
The better boxer, the slicker mover, quality work coming from him. Body shot from Parker. I mean, the only punch he's throwing at the moment, Zeuge, is that long right hand.
Yeah.
When Parker's on his way out, I mean, provided he manages to avoid that, I mean, he's hardly landing a scoring shot otherwise, is he? One thing I did notice in the build-up, Richie, he did admit that if he wasn't a boxer, Zeuge, he would be a comedian, and he spends that much time laughing and smiling in there. You can understand why he thinks that way.
He laughs at when he makes a mistake. He laughs when Zach Parker misses with a shot. All part of the game to get inside the opponent's head. Good movement there from Parker. Another comfortable round.
There's that wild swing, this time the left from Zeuge, which Parker was easily able to avoid it, and there's the bell. So we're going to see Liam Davis a little bit later on tonight. Eric Robles, the Mexican, is who he's in with. Let's hear from him. From Liam Davis, the IBO super bantamweight title on the line when he steps in with the Mexican Eric Robles a little bit later. Prior to that, you'll see Joe Joyce against Cash Ali, and then the top of the build, Heaney defending his British middleweight title against Brad Pauls. He's got real momentum though, Liam Davis, right now. Yeah,
he's improving with every contest, I think, Liam Davis. And yeah, it is the right time for him to step up now. And there's some real big fights in the future for him. So yeah, he's doing really well.
This is a fight here that Zach Parker now has control of. The only aberration when he was given the count in the second round. But apart from that, according to Richie's scorecard, I would expect that the judges would agree he's been the dominant man. Apart from that, piling up the points. Boxing well in there now. It's a nice short right hand that he just caught Zeuge with.
Yes, good shot that was from Zach Parker. I think his corner, a bit of a change in tactic here from Parker. He's starting to step in a little bit more on that front foot. Keeps pouring with that lead hand of his, but he's looking to actually push Zeuge back. Look, there you see. In the previous rounds, he was sort of on that back foot, and his movement, he's got to watch it, what he's doing here. Can understand what they've said in the corner. Maybe push the opponent back.
Continues to switch between orthodox and southpaw. Zach Parker. I'd say right now, Richie, that only a lack of concentration from Parker, which might give Zeuge the opportunity to land another one of those punches that he was able to do in the second. That's the only real cause for concern that there might be, because
yeah, it's getting, you know, like I say, Fletch, he's winning every round, he's comfortable, but, you know, at times he can be too comfortable, and complacency can creep into any boxer. And in this situation here, against a former world champion, yeah, and look, he's still really dangerous. So it's a classic case here. You've got to be very mentally strong in this contest and just get the job done and just concentrate throughout.
30 seconds to go in the seventh. Don't switch off, the message to Zach Parker. If he doesn't and keeps his wits about him, then everything should be fine.
I mean, I think Zeuge will be knowing that he'll be told in the corner that he's losing the rounds. We might see a change in tactic from him at some stage. He might really put the pressure on. But at this stage, that's another round for Parker.
Let's have a listen into his corner then, as he sits down, and we can hear what Errol Johnston's got to say.
Come on then now, he's fucked now, not me. Starting to fade. He's just about 10 swings around now. He's start putting that right hook over the top. Push, but bam, over the top. Yeah. It's easy to hit with that one. Just bring the glove down a little bit, bang him, got me? Then hit the body shot, okay? Let's force him some shots now, got me? Deep breaths, come on. Nice and tight. Feel right?
Yes, all right.
Yeah, come on then. Little bit, let's make him have a bit.
Show me what you're getting with him.
3 rounds left. Come on, let's make him have it a bit. Yeah?
3 fucking rounds. Let's fucking
come on, let's go.
Take it fucking up.
Apologies for the language. The Zach Parker corner. I mean, one thing we did glean from that is that Errol Johnston doesn't think that Zeuge's got too much left in the tank. Whether he steps up the work in this round, Parker, we'll see.
Yeah, that's a psychological thing for Parker, though, that is, I think, from Errol Johnston. And it's good coaching, really, to give his boxer a little bit of a boost. But at the same time, you heard the urgency in the other coach who was at the side there saying, come on, because they know he's still a dangerous opponent in front of him. So he's got to keep switched on.
Lachlan having a word with Parker. 2 to go after this one. That's that right hand again. That's the only real concern, isn't it? When he moves away, Parker, he lets the right hand go, Zeuge, and when it lands, we know he's got the power to cause Parker a problem.
So he's not going to land the shot when Parker's throwing them nice long punches there. It's when Parker's moving away, his hands on in a good position. And like we said before, it can be a lack of concentration, so he's got to watch it as he's moving away, most certainly. It's a bit scrappy now. Both boxers are getting a little bit tired.
Had he come through the ropes there, he would have landed right on my knee. That's where we are, exactly where we are.
Yeah. Like I say, Fletch, in this type of contest, it's not only a case of staying switched on physically, it's mentally as well. This is where you can't afford to drift and get complacent here.
It's been a case of missed opportunities really to this point for Parker, who's lined up to fight Demetrius Andrade at Pride Park. That fell through. That was for a world title. Then he stumbled and broke his hand against John Ryder, and he went on to fight Canelo Alvarez. But I mean, if he stepped up to the light heavyweight division, it's so deep domestically, and at super middleweight there are big fights out there for him as well. I think ideally he'd like to be out in Saudi Arabia sometime this year. So there are big fights down the road for him, provided he comes through this one tonight. In terms of boxing, he's got the upper hand. He's just got to make sure he doesn't fall foul to a big shot from Tyrone Zeuge.
Better work there, actually, from Parker, because he's keeping the opponent off balance all the time, keeping the jab in his face, then whipping the odd shot downstairs, then another jab goes into his face. So that's good boxing. It's keeping the opponent at bay, off balance. And he's winning this round quite comfortable.
That's good work from Parker, putting his hands together. I must say, Richie, apart from the power that he's got the ability to land the big shot, I've been a bit disappointed by Zeuge in general.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, Fletch. Former world champion, wanting to get back on the scene, and lost another round.
So that's Cash Ali, who's up next against Joe Joyce, and we talk about it being a big night for the Juggernaut. It could be a career-changing night for Cash Ali if he can get the win. He's 32, only been beaten twice. Certainly a confident man, and we'll see whether he can cause Joe Joyce any problems next up.
Good coach as well in his corner, Richard Towers. Experienced man, Richard, and a good coach now.
Time running out here for Tyrone Zeuge. He's got to find a big punch from somewhere. It's a fight that he might have felt he got in the palm of his hands when Parker was given the count. From that point, it's just drifted further and further away from him. Victor Loughlin just saying, look, let's keep it clean, 2 to go, and let's get rid of all the rough stuff.
Yeah, he's complained here and there, hasn't he, Zeuge? He's complained about that lead hand of Parker just pushing it out, and that's what Zeuge is not too happy with.
Zeuge trying to let his hands go without any real success. There's that whipping right hand that he throws with a lot of speed, doesn't he?
Still dangerous, isn't he? Still dangerous.
Surely the corner have told him he's got to start taking a chance or two as well. I mean, they'll be aware that he's away behind on points despite the knockdown.
Remember, this is for all 29 of his fights have been in Germany, so he's probably had it, apart from obviously the Rocky Fielding fight, he's had it all his own way really in those contests. But here, you know, the referee's not really on your side. He hasn't in Germany. Who knows? It might have been different for Parker as he's pouring out that hand.
Victor Loughlin not too interested by the histrionics in there from Zeuge.
So it's a new experience for Zeuge all round here.
It's a contest that's getting quite messy towards the end. Zach Parker fighting orthodox again. No doubt he'll switch to southpaw imminently. That's been the process tonight. That's the way he does it. Good solid body shot. Now trying to land with decent punches to the head, and then they both get tied up together.
I think Zach Parker's looking for a stoppage here. He's pushing on, taking a few more risks and trying to plant his feet with some big shots like that. Again, got to watch what he's doing. Oh, that's a good shot from Parker. That was a right-hand cracking shot. That was over the top, bang on the button.
That's not bad from Zeuge, though, by way of a follow-up, is it? Just when Parker dropped his hands.
Yeah, deceiving sort of fighter, isn't he, Zeuge? Looks a little bit slow, and all of a sudden he can spring into action. Pounces on the mistake that you make. Still dangerous.
stumble over there from Parker. There might be a bit of water on the canvas.
He might have just gone over on his ankle, so you'll have to watch that.
Just said something to his corner.
Yeah. That might mean he's got to stand and trade a little bit more now. You have to watch this. Movement's been a big part here. Yeah, I think he's gone over his ankle. He just did again there, so not really happy there.
Well, this is going to be an interesting final round if that's the case, and Parker becomes more of a sitting target for Zeuge, but that's the bell to end the night.
You have to keep, you've got to keep clicking him with the jab then, keep pushing him off, don't let him get near you, you got me? But here, deep press, right one, south forward then, don't put the pressure on that one, you got me? You're listening? Yeah. Come on, okay, so keep it sharp, just keep ringing, move the best you can, but you move that.
Well, that's the way that Richie's got it. 6-point lead at this stage, and he's won every round bar the second, Zach Parker, but it's quite obvious in there's a problem with the ankle, and Errol Johnston just saying, look, keep popping out the jab, pushing him off, and just don't put too much weight on it.
Well, yeah, because he's gone over on his right ankle, so now he's got to box. He wants him to box as a southpaw, so most of the pressure then is going to be on the left ankle, most of the weight. If he boxes as an orthodox boxer, you see the weight will be on his back foot, so that's why he's gone southpaw. And he's got to listen to his coach, but he's not happy, look, so he's going to test it out, so he's got to watch what he's doing here.
Straight away he's gone orthodox. I'm pretty sure that the German's corner will have said, look, you've got to go for broke in this last round, and if he is slower than he was, Zach Parker, then he might just present you with a target that you can find.
I've been in this situation, Fletcher. I remember going over on my ankle, actually as an amateur in the Commonwealth Games final last round, and I just had to hit and to move and just stay flat-footed, if anything. It's really, really difficult because you've got to concentrate on not going over on that ankle again. And obviously in a 3-round contest, you know, it was a close fight as well I had in the final. But yeah, I got over the line with it, but I've been in this situation and you're more worried about that, your ankle. You having to concentrate on your weight over your feet. It's difficult, this is.
I would have thought that Zach Parker would be quite happy when it gets a little bit scrappy as it is there, and holding on to each other, because that means that he's not going to move around too much. And there's not a great deal of time left. You can see that he's seriously hampered by it though, because there's hardly any movement whatsoever coming from Parker.
At all.
It's a good job this didn't happen 2 or 3 rounds earlier.
Yeah, absolutely, because movement's a big part of Zach Parker's game. Skillful boxer, but he needs that movement. Natural switch hitter.
Zeuge still trying to look for that split second when he can launch one of those devastating right hands.
But what's important here, Fletcher, is because he's on his back foot, then he shouldn't really get caught with a shot as he's coming forward. So keep moving backwards, and if Zeuge launches a big shot, well, you take the power out of it because you're moving away from it. Doesn't want to be going forward with his hands low, making silly mistakes now.
Zach Parker keeping him at bay into the final minute. It's been a strange contest, and I think the way that Zeuge's gone about it has been quite bizarre in many ways.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone for it more, actually, Zeuge. I mean, look, he's still throwing big shots, still dangerous.
There's a right hand, and Parker at the moment is just making sure he keeps out the way. Zeuge's not got a lot of time. 20 seconds to go.
You can actually see he's trying to keep his feet flat. That right foot, he's trying to keep flat-footed all the time, not trying to bounce on the toes anymore. Difficult.
A painful end to the night for Zach Parker, but it looks like it might be a successful one, and he won't mind the fact that Zeuge doesn't want to go anywhere. There's the final bell, and Zeuge can smile and he can dance around, but that might just go down as a missed opportunity for him, Richie, in the last round, that he couldn't make more of the fact it couldn't really move.
Yeah, exactly. He should have pounced on him, to be quite honest. He probably won the last round, Zeuge, but yeah, it is a missed opportunity. Parker, quite clearly, you could see that he wasn't moving properly, and Zeuge's missed out there. A little bit disappointed in Zeuge as a former world champion. I thought he'd go for it a little bit more. He was always dangerous throughout the contest, But Parker, you know, he's got home, and he's got, the only thing I would say there, he's got 10 valuable rounds under his belt. But he won't be too pleased with the performance, to be quite honest, especially the way he's been caught and he's been dropped with a good shot. But nevertheless, the rest of the rounds he won clearly.
Richie, sum up Tyrone Zeuge for me, will you?
Well, I mean, big opportunities there for Zeuge, especially putting Zach Parker down so early in the contest. It was a 10-8 round in the second, and you thought he would kick on from there. It's probably a last throw of the dice for him, as going for anything major. His first fight out of Germany. So, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed, because he looked dangerous, Fletch, right to the very end of the contest, but he just didn't go for it enough. We have to give credit to Parker in those middle rounds, keeping him at bay and keeping him off balance, but Tyrone Zeuge never really went for it, doubling up the attacks. It was one single attack, and then it got back to Parker poking that jab out.
OK, so the two fighters are about to join Victor Loughlin in the centre of the ring, and I think we're ready for Thomas Schreiber to give us the official result.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Lee Every scores it 96-94. Judge Kevin Parker scores it 97-92. And Judge Michael Alexander scores it 98-91. All in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, Zach Parker.
So Zach Parker wins it, the John Ryder defeat disappearing into the rear-view mirror. We may well see him out again in June. And now he wants to get on with making the most of his talent and will target the very best. But he's got the win tonight, Becky, and that's all that matters.
He has indeed, Fletch. Thank you very much. But Carl, Steve, was that a real missed opportunity for Zach Parker tonight to really make a statement?
Yeah, look, I think that